Good morning. Just setting up the broadcast on Periscope. And then I'll start talking about what I think about media as a form of communication and my thoughts on its future and things like that. This morning I've got a light roast coffee. It's called True North. It's from Starbucks and it's quite tasty. And I've got a lemon cranberry muffin, as you can see here. You can see the cranberry in there just a little bit. Alright, I definitely need a bite of this. I'm pretty hungry. I already stole a bite before the broadcast began. Been late today and I haven't had breakfast yet. I'm really hungry. Yeah, so today I'm just going to be eating breakfast and talking about what I think about media. According to Google, the definition of media is the main means of mass communication, broadcasting, publishing, and the internet, regarded collectively. So, media, according to Google, is all forms of mass communication. So any communication where you can reach a larger audience outside of kind of like where and when you are. And I think this would even include ancient sculptures, would definitely be a form of media. I believe that all media is a form of communication, almost like an evolution. So, I mean, way back in the day, the first methods of communication would have been more obvious and basic. I mean, if you're a single-celled organism and another single-celled organism is moving toward you rapidly, and you can sense that in any way, you could probably interpret that as a method of communication that is hostile or aggressive. They're angry. They're saying mean things. And then fast forward quite a ways, we've gone through hundreds of thousands of years to be able to interpret communication through verbal speech, through gesture, through actions, through sensing emotions even. And mass media, what it is these days, is like an evolution of ancient forms of communication. I forget who is, like Michelangelo or something, he painted the Sistine Chapel. He didn't really want to do it, but he understood that part of the reason why he was doing it was to help inspire people. That's what the church wanted anyways. They wanted people to come into the church and just look up and just be in complete awe at what we're capable of doing as a species. And that is an amazing form of communication that has spanned throughout hundreds of years and is still being heard today. It's a distant message that's echoed through time, through a form of media that we still see commonly today, painting, but not nearly as much. Most media we see these days is in the form of digital media that's being broadcasted or transmitted somehow over the internet. The internet is the most amazing thing we've ever created for the creation of media and communication. To quote a man that I like a lot, Ralph Smart, he says that the internet was created to connect us all. And if the internet is a form of media and media is a form of communication, then the internet is also a form of communication. And it's changing things. When television and radio broadcasting first came out, those forms of media governments and central authorities understood that almost anything they say would be heard by almost everyone through word of mouth before long. Not everybody had radios, kind of like not everybody had TVs at first, but eventually everybody had a radio in their living room. And when there's only a few channels on the radio, and a few of those channels are giving you all of your news, or the majority of your news, then you're going to be extremely subjected to forms of media manipulation resulting in propaganda and fake news and false beliefs. One good example of this would be Reefer Madness. Reefer Madness was a movie created when television and movies were still relatively new. Reefer Madness was kind of like a horror story about cannabis, just a plant. And because of Reefer Madness, a whole war on drugs. I mean, it wasn't just because of Reefer Madness, but Reefer Madness basically just swayed public opinion straight south for something that humans have been using for thousands of years, and medicinally and for other purposes. And the power of media back then was much more powerful singularly than it is today. Today, finally, media is starting to branch out more socially, so it's less centralized and more individualistic. And there's influencers that can change people's opinions in different ways. So for example, a guy I know named Vernacules Nerdgasm, or Jerry, if you know him in person, he has a rather large audience between a couple of different platforms, and he talks about tech stuff, and he reviews different tech products. So anybody who follows him and wants to buy a television or wants to buy a microphone or whatever, they'll watch one of his videos and they'll listen to one of his reviews, and they'll be influenced by what he says. Lately I had a talk with him about universal basic income, something that I recently talked about during one of my breakfast broadcasts, and he shared his opinion, and his opinion went out to hundreds of people, whereas old forms of media would have gone out to thousands of people. But when you combine all the influencers together and consider that less people are paying attention to mainstream media these days, less people are believing mainstream media these days, and more people are listening to personalized broadcasters, people that ring a bell with them, that they can trust on more of an eye-to-eye level, because, yeah, we're here. Everything I'm saying right now, it's just my opinion. You know, I'm talking about media. You can believe me or you can not. I don't have any hidden agenda. I don't have any advertisers to appease. I'm not concerned with copyright bullshit. You know, it's just me. I'm talking about it. A few more bites of my muffin, and I'll talk about why I believe that media is going in the next few decades. Oh my god. I'm so new to this broadcasting stuff. I just realized that all the images that I've been bringing up for you, you haven't been able to see because I'm a dumbass. Sorry about that. So yeah, the future of media within the next few decades, what I think it's going to be. I think we're going to see an upsurgence of everybody producing their own media. So everybody is a news outlet. So when you hear about a news story, you're less likely to hear it from the 5 or 6 o'clock news, and you're more likely to hear it from either your phone or your friend beside you. And the implications of that are going to be grand, because it's going to make it really hard for big companies to basically propaganda people, because if there is propaganda going on that there's some battle, there's some border thing going on in between these two countries in Europe, and let's say it's completely fake. So then you go, all right, well, is this real? Well, let's go there. Let's Periscope there. Let's see what's actually happening there right now. And you can throw all the money you want into making fake news, but if you just have a few mainstream media outlets, or even just one mainstream media outlet, performing this slew of fake news on an area of the world, but you already have thousands of people living in that city, and you can tune into them right away, and they can say, no, that's not happening. Actually, we're not under attack right now. Actually, there's not a rebel insurgency. No one's trying to take over our government. You don't need to send in foreign nationals to help us. We're okay. Like, that's actually part of the reason Periscope was made, was so that people could tune into news live, but what's happening when it's happening anywhere in the world. And it's going to change how people view news and media, and it's going to change people's belief and their confidence in mainstream media. It's going to topple. Like Fox News, they lie so fucking much, but they still have a huge following. And what's even worse is that how many of the people that watch Fox News believe what they're being told by Fox News. A couple more bites of my muffin. So jumping back in time a little bit, YouTube, which was the first large social media video platform online, started under the premise of you being shown through a tube. So it started under the premise that individuals would upload videos about themselves, whatever they wanted to. YouTube has become more mainstream. Sorry about that. I accidentally pressed the stop streaming button on my keyboard because this microphone cord's in the way. Yeah, sorry about that, Periscope. I accidentally pressed a button on my keyboard because my microphone cord got in the way. So yeah, I was saying, where was I? Yeah, YouTube recently has gone a bit more mainstream. The way they program their algorithm and this whole big fight with advertisers basically means that YouTube is going to be centered more towards what television used to be. So things that your grandma is comfortable watching, that's going to be what's on YouTube for the most part. They're really shitting on the smaller creators and making it impossible for anyone to grow. And YouTube is not what it used to be anymore. It's not about broadcasting individuals through a tube at all. It's about whatever's extremely popular in the moment, recyclable. Whatever's trending, like right now, you'll see on YouTube, but outside of that, it's a bit harder to find things. And that has actually spawned dozens of alternative platforms for video sharing and social media as a video thing. Platforms like VidMe, one that I love a lot. VidMe was actually created by YouTubers because of this whole YouTube shitting on their creators thing. So YouTube basically hails to their advertisers and trying to make money as best they can, stay alive. VidMe hails to their creators. So on VidMe, you can say whatever the fuck you want, and that's kind of like their slogan. It's not supposed to be about pornography, even though they had a huge issue with pornography when they first started. VidMe is the social media video platform for creators. So even VidMe official productions, they actually, they're on a budget. They've raised more than $6 million to help create this platform. But everything they produce, they do it as cheaply as possible. Because they want to mimic and say that, look, anybody can still do this. It's just making videos of yourself. You don't have to be some huge fucking production company, like almost everything you see on YouTube these days. You don't have to be that big. There's also Vimeo and Dailymotion. I think Vimeo is more centric towards the mainstream, towards like I think creators have to pay to really get stuff on the website. So what you see on Vimeo, it's generally going to be higher quality, but there's a lot less people viewing it because there's a lot less content. Shit, I forget a few of the other ones. But my point is that YouTube has spawned a dozen other video sharing platforms. And these video sharing platforms, like Periscope, are going to be the next generation of social media on the internet. So there's social media, so posting images and text, and then there's social media of posting videos. I believe that YouTube spawning off all these offcasts of video sharing is going to mean that whatever social media you happen to be using, that you grow up with, let's say you're a teenager and you're just jumping on social media for the first time, whatever platform you jump on, you're going to have some form of video sharing. And growing up with this more comfortably, it's just a new means of communication. So we're going to see less cat things, less texty things, and we're going to see more rich things, more people actually communicating on a higher level, because you can hear and feel my emotions. You can hear that I do care about the future of media and not having everything so mainstreamed that we can't determine what's the truth anymore. I believe that the truth comes from people, and that there's a wavelength you can tune into where you can believe someone when they're talking to you because they are being honest. I do care about this. I do care about the future of video sharing, and I believe that this is how we can help save the world from itself. Central authorities, they're not the rulers. We are. We all are. And they can't lie to us anymore. And this is the way we can make that happen. A couple more bites of my muffin. And I'll talk about where I see media going a couple hundred years from now. So this image, I'm not sure how well you can see it here. You know, I'll see if we can't blow that up. Get rid of the camera here, so maybe you can see a little bit better. Alright, so this image to me represents a little bit more what the future of media is going to be like. You're going to have your head in some kind of headset, or there's going to be a holographic environment around you. And you're going to be able to tune in to anywhere in the world, anytime in the world, and see what's happening or what has happened. It's going to be a live access to the world. And through telepresence, you're going to be able to use media to be anywhere and talk to anyone. So media as a future forms of communication is telepresence, is basically reverting back to what we evolved for communication to be. In person, you can see them, you can hear them, you can feel them. That's where we're going. We're going from sitting around a campfire to being anywhere on the planet and being able to chill around a campfire and communicate with people. And I think that's great. Thank you for joining me on this morning's episode of the Breakfast Broadcast. You can find me at FknzLm. I'll be around Monday to Friday, most Monday to Fridays anyways, from around 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, eating muffins, drinking coffee, yeah, and expressing my thoughts about you. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see y'all again.